These operations that you did, were you given a specific target, or were they like?
Well, it depended. You see, on this particular day, we went out, four of us, on merely what was called an armed reconnaissance. They said, right, off you go. You do a big sweep over the sea and hope that you'll see a target and attack it. Targets of opportunity, I suppose they call them today, but we call it an armed reconnaissance. They did say that, they said, if you don't see anything, these are the intelligence officers talking to us, the partisans say that there are 2 Seabull ferries in the harbour of Rab. Well, we didn't see anything, but I can remember calling up my friends and saying, let's go and have a look at Rab. So we went down and had a look at Rab, and there they were. And I saw some flak coming up from a little island near Rab. We were almost there, and I called up to say, look out for flak. And at that point, my radio went completely dead. Just one of those things that happen sometimes when you were flying, were completely dead. So down we went, and must have been going pretty fast because we'd come down from 5,000 feet. Flew over the harbour of Rab, and a little town, and saw them there, and still no radio, but we were all pretty well trained, and so everybody did the right thing, except I don't think anybody put their cameras on, because one of the leader's job was to tell people to use the safety, take off the safety switch for the rockets, because it's no good going into attack, pressing the button and find the safety switch is still on and nothing happens. So that was one of your jobs. The other one was to give them any other hints you could, and also to switch on the camera that was in the wing. So we just did a trip round and came back over the rooftops and down and in and attacked. And as I say, I took the one on the right. Of course, the drill was, in doing this job, that as soon as you fired your rockets, you did a smart turn either left or right to get out the way, because if you went straight on and over, you'd be likely to shoot yourself down with an explosion. So you got out the way quickly. So I did that, and then I did another turn and looked back, and then I saw my number 2, his Hurricane, silhouetted against a big sheet of flame which was big as the side of a house. That was the one that was laden with ammunition, we were told at a later date. And his Hurricane was like a pepper pot. It was all over the place. And I really thought, when I saw this, I thought, oh, poor old Freddie, he's had it. But he could have been killed. But his aircraft was okay, except that he didn't have any instruments. His instrument somehow had all been knocked out, and he had no airspeed indicator or anything. So eventually the other 2, there was so much smoke going on when they came in that they said they just fired their rockets at random into the mayhem, really. They didn't know what to do. Then we flew back to Vis, and we did a formation landing with this other chappie, because so I helped him to get, told him his wheels would set his wheels, assured him that his wheels were down all right, that his flaps were working, and we did a formation landing. There was only room for one at a time on this strip in the vineyard. So after he landed, I just went round and came down myself, and everybody was all right, but it could have been otherwise.
You said you first took up flying to fight back against the Germans. Initially, that was your initial motivation? Did you still have that motivation then? Were you attacking ships?
Oh well, no, I just wanted to play my part to bring the war to an end, full stop. And of course I was only a very small cog in a very big wheel. Things were going on all over the world virtually. People were, when you read the various accounts of people flying in Burma and other places and things that were done, there's no end to amazing stories that keep coming to light. And no, my motivation was to play what part I could in bringing the thing to an end. And if I was stopping the ships feeding these German garrisons down there, it was, you know, it was stopping them. It was keeping the troops. They kept a hold. It's about 3 divisions of German troops, I think, were pinned down in Yugoslavia, which otherwise would have been used in the on the mainland of Italy against the 8th Army. So we were our own bosses on 6th Squadron. We could choose our own targets and do what we liked.
So the Italian campaign's obviously carrying on, but
Well,
you're mainly working with the Balkans
Yes, we did.
campaign.
Yeah.
Who were you liaising with then? Was there who was giving you targets, or was it literally?
Well,
Right.
we used to we see being an old reconnaissance squadron before the war. 6th Squadron had as its intelligence officers 2 army officers, a major and a captain, and we kept them until, you know, almost to the end of 6th Squadron's existence. And they, of course, were in touch with the partisans. There must have been some headquarters of partisans somewhere, I don't know. They used to get radio messages or telephone messages saying that certain things were happening, and they would brief us accordingly. One, for instance, they got a message from partisans saying there's a certain spot in the Albania border with Yugoslavia where every Sunday evening at 6 o'clock the Germans with Teutonic thoroughness would come down with a big army of lorries. They were, I don't know what they were doing, I don't know about it, but they did say that because the Germans were well known for sticking to regular plans, and could we possibly attack it? So we went off, 4 of us, one Sunday afternoon. Instead of going to Sunday school, we did something else, and lo and behold, at the spot that they said, there was this big convoy. It's a funny thing happened on the way, because a friend of mine who was leading the 4, he had his mapper, but he used to like to fly with his hood back for some peculiar reason, which I didn't do that. I was prepared to put up with a certain amount of stuffiness inside, but he liked to fly with his hood back. Well, when we had to reach the mountain range of the mainland. He had to turn his map over so he could go on navigating, and unfortunately his map got sucked up. So there he was leading without a map. So of course he called me up, and I had to take over the lead. Unfortunately my map was securely strapped to my knee and my cockpit was shut. So I led that particular attack, not meaning to. But we found out just where they said it was, and we just shot it up. And I think we had some Spitfire escort with us as well, who also took part in the fun. So goodness knows what happened. I mean, there wasn't much of a convoy left by the time we finished. Why am I saying that? Oh, about where do we got their information from?
Yes,
Partisans,
yeah,
you see.
yeah.
There was a big partisan network.
Yeah.
And there was their headquarters was on the island of Vis during that period.
I hope you don't mind me asking this, but did it trouble you, the fact that you were shooting up men in vehicles and?
I used to hope that I was destroying the thing and not killing people. I must have killed people in my time, but it didn't trouble me unduly. I didn't like the idea. When we attacked these things in the RAB, where these where one was diesel and the other one ammunition, as I was going in to attack, I could see a man running away, whose feet appeared not to be touching the ground. I think he must have known what was there. And I can remember smiling to myself and praying that he would get away in time. I didn't want to kill him. I didn't want to kill anybody, but it was war. You know, what can you do? You can't pick and choose.
No, yes. That's
If you
right.
can understand my
Well, I can
my
understand because
feeling.
I haven't been in that situation, but that's very
Yeah.
consistent with what other people say. Yes.
Do they? Yeah.
Yes.
No, there were some people that had personal hatred, and there were some people who were bloodthirsty. I know for a fact that they were bloodthirsty. They'd kill anybody. But that wasn't my philosophy. If I had to attack a ship, I would attack that ship, and if there happened to be some men on it, there was a chance that they could escape. People weren't always killed. And so if they didn't, well, that was too bad, really.